Okay, well, good morning, everyone. We are so excited to have you here for this marketing training event. We're going to be talking about crushing targets in 2023, specifically looking at some of the things that have worked really well in 2022 and the different strategies and trends we want to take advantage of in 2023. If you are just joining us, make sure to enter. I think we do have the chat enabled now, right, Emily? Good to go there? Maybe. Okay. If not, for right now, let's just stick with the Q&A. Oh, yes. Perfect. So if the chat, that's a great spot if you want to put where you're watching from, what you're most excited to learn. But we'll reserve the Q&A for any questions. We'll go ahead and, okay. This will be hosted by me. I am Lex Tingy. I am the marketing director at the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence. I have been there for almost 4 years now. And before that, I worked in the travel industry as well as the customer service industry. I have had some work with some big names such as like Home Depot and Disney. So I really appreciate the experience they've given me now. And working in this industry has been so great, and getting to work directly with shops and kind of just get to know everyone and kind of see how marketing changes. So really excited. I'll also let Roxanne and Zach introduce themselves. Roxanne, if you'd like to go first.
Sure. My name is Roxanne, and I am the Director of Marketing and Partnerships for Shop-Ware. I've been at Shop-Ware for about 3 years, and before Shop-Ware, I worked for Drive Management Consulting. So I've been in the industry for quite a while. I mostly specialize in B2B marketing, but definitely some B2C tricks for the shops that we help. And I'm really excited to see the content that Lex put here today. She's got some really great stuff she's going to be covering.
Excellent. Hi, my name is Zach Romero. I'm the Senior Business Development Manager with Broadly in the auto division. I've been here for, going on 2 years now. Before this, worked with Advanced Auto Parts for about 10 years in their software division. And before that, worked for an Audi dealership out in Denver, Colorado. So excited to be here for sure. Excited to present this great content with you all and learn a little bit more from you guys as we go through the presentation.
Yes, it's going to be a great presentation, if I do say so myself. A little biased. It does look Noah said chat isn't working still, so we will stick with the Q&A. Craig, thank you so much. And let's go over the agenda. Okay, so right now we're in kickoff, welcome, intros, and agenda overview. We will be breaking this up. 2 hours is a little bit long, so we want to give you some breaks. We've broken it into 3 concepts: inbound marketing, outbound marketing, and incorporating 2023 trends. And then we will have a spot for a Q&A for all of our shop owners and instructors we have joining us today. So and then during that break, we'll give you time if you need to use the restroom or grab a drink or anything. We'll give you about 3 to 5 minutes. If you have any questions, like I said, use that Q&A. When we do ask questions, we will enable some talking, so you can use that chat, or if you'd like to use your microphone, I'll let you know towards the end of each section. But for now, I think that is everything. Let's try now. All right, let's see. We're just looking at the chat. Perfect. It looks like the chat is on. Are all our attendees seeing that as well, not just our host and panelists? So I want to make sure. Perfect. I see us. Okay, awesome. Okay, everyone has the chat. So that's a great place if you want to just say where you're watching from again, what you're most interested to see. If you do have any questions, you can put them there, but I would recommend putting them in the Q&A. That's going to be the first spot we look. So let's go ahead then and get started. All right, we are going to start with inbound marketing. So first off, just to kind of preface this, when we talk about inbound and outbound marketing, I am going to be talking about these things that we've already been using in 2022. And then at that last section, we'll be looking at the things that work for 2023. So what is inbound marketing? Inbound marketing is the pull. It's the pull to outbound marketing's push. A lot of marketing, when first getting started with marketing and everything, it was very much let's get in their face as soon as we can, no matter where they're at in the customer journey. And it became a little oversaturated, and people really didn't like it as much. We weren't seeing as good of a return. So we came up with this idea of inbound marketing as what if people are already looking for us? What can we do to make sure that we are capturing all the people already looking without maybe as much effort sometimes as outbound marketing takes? A really good analogy of that is with fishing. If you have a really good stream, you found a really good spot stream full of great fish. Also, I've never been fishing, so sorry if I use the wrong terminology. The outbound marketing would be saying, oh, I see all these great fish. I'm going to go spear fishing. I'm going to go for the best ones. You're taking a lot of effort with that. Now, inbound marketing would be saying, okay, I'm going to be placing a lure. I know where the best location is. I know what the fish that I want are attracted to the most. That's what I'm going to use. Not to say that inbound marketing is a passive technique. It still takes a lot of thought in, making sure you're placing it in the right place, your customers, that kind of thing. And this is the last time I'll use the fishing analogy. Obviously, we aren't marketing to fish, we're marketing to people. They're a little bit more complicated. But that's just a really great way to kind of visualize the difference between the two. And another thing to think about with inbound marketing is that it's any inbound strategy, its goal should be to nurture potential customers through the marketing funnel. We want to provide them with content and information to raise their awareness, increase that engagement, that finally ends in conversion and retention. Again, doing that very intentionally and realizing that we're not just pushing them right to the sale point. We are letting them come to us, and we are making sure that our funnel is set up to funnel them to that conversion and retention. And typically with inbound marketing, because of the way we've done it, that retention is typically better there. But we can mix outbound and inbound marketing to make sure we're still getting that effect in outbound techniques as well, to talk about a little later. But so now we know that what inbound marketing is. How do we do it? What forms does it take? Many forms. Content is probably the biggest one, along with digital advertising, local SEO, but we're going to focus on our website first. And so you might be asking, why are we doing what everyone knows about the website? That's kind of a basic, but it's something that sometimes we forget about because it is such a big foundational item. And especially in today's age, the customer journey begins online. If we aren't making it easy for customers to find us, but also easy for our stuff to appear without a ton of work on our end, we're leaving money on the table. So we really need to make sure that our website is optimized and that we've built the building blocks. We've built it up to really be able to do the best for us. And again, if you're a little bit more experienced in marketing, this might seem basic, but as things change, we should always be checking in on this. Your website isn't just something you set once and are done with. Things are constantly changing, especially in digital marketing, and we need to be aware and checking on these. So the really three basic building blocks of a good website: mobile optimization, speed, and content. So first, is your website optimized for a mobile device? We have seen time and time again that mobile and social media are reigning royalty. The most searches are coming from them, and our site needs to be up to date. If someone comes to our site on their cell phone and all of a sudden it's cut off, they can't see the links, they're going to bounce. They're going to go find someone they can understand the website. They can find all the information they need. And luckily, that's really easy to check. You just pull up your own cell phone, type in your website address, make sure it's there, make sure you can see everything, that it easily moves around. That's definitely something easy to check. And so that's the first step, making sure it's optimized for mobile. Our second step is, how long is it taking our website to load? You might think that, oh, as long as it loads within 10 seconds, 12 seconds, I'll be okay, right? No. What Google has found that if your website does not load by the 5-second mark, people start to bounce. And the golden standard is actually to aim for 3 seconds. If you are just starting to pay attention to your website, that might be a little bit out of range. So definitely test where your website is at now. Google actually has a really great tool, PageSpeed. Excuse me, let me find that for you. pagespeed.web.dev. That's actually what Google uses to rank, so you can get an idea of how fast your site is coming up in their eyes. But the problem is, if people are bouncing, that then tells Google that they're not finding the content, your website isn't providing whatever they're looking for, and then you start to rank lower. So then you're running into the issue, Google's no longer showing you. You can kind of see how these compact on top of each other. But definitely start aiming for maybe 10 seconds if you realize that your website is taking 15 seconds to load. Once you get to 10, start with 7. 5 is where you really want to be. If you're not, then going for 3 seconds will be the next. But speed is so imperative, not only to your customer experience, but to making sure you rank highly on Google as well. And then third, will potential customers find what they're looking for? So this is also in that bounce rate. If someone comes to your site and can't easily find your phone number, your address, a list of services offered, and a scheduling option, they're likely not to stay around or to, stay on the website, click, actually book. And not that you need to be able to schedule services on the website. Obviously, we want some qualification level there, that kind of thing. But you should make it easy for them to at least schedule an appointment to talk with someone, schedule that phone call, or even have some kind of chat to get an answer easily answered, or question easily answered, excuse me. And these are all things that as shop owners, you should be aware of. You will likely have to work with your website provider or a marketing professional to make changes to hit some of these marks. But really, these are 3 things you can kind of check on your own and make sure, just as a checklist. Yes, it works on mobile. Yes, it's loading fast. And yes, they can find all our information. And then obviously, as you go on, you can fine tune that to hit some of your other goals. And yeah, Dalton just said, can we link that in the chat? Yes, definitely. Let me add that. pagec.web.dev.
Oh, Scott already did
perfect. Thanks, Scott. You got my back. But that's the tool that Google uses themselves. I find it really helpful. It will also show you a mobile and a desktop version to give you an idea that maybe your site is loading really fast on desktop, but not doing so well on mobile. And then again, you will need to talk with like your website provider or marketing professional to start changing that. But then once we have our website, our foundation is strong, then our digital marketing can come next and we can really be prepared. And you might be asking, okay, like I understand website is important, but how important? Like what's going on there? So let's look at some of the search and web statistics from 2022. I'm going to read over these and then we'll go kind of key takeaways here. So 63% of organic search visits came from mobile devices. 93% of all mobile searches came from Google's platform. 30% of mobile searches are location-based. So that means something like searching for auto shop near me. That would be a location-based search. The average click-through rate for the #1 organic search results spot is 27.6%. And so that's not going to be the first one because that's typically a sponsored. The first one or first 2 are typically sponsored and they'll show ad. But that one right below them, that's organic. That is just under a third of people are clicking onto that. And then 83% of Google shares or global searches, are from Google's platform as well. And then 78% of people visit within 24 hours after completing a local search and finding a business. So obviously our key takeaways here, your site needs to be coming up. Google is super important. It is holding most of the shares when it comes to not only mobile searches, but global searches in general. They make the rules. We need to follow them. That doesn't mean that Yelp, Bing, Apple, those are still not important. We'll talk about that on the next slide, but we really should be paying attention to what Google is telling us and doing. And then local SEO, it's important not only for website traffic, but also physical traffic. When someone does search you and you come up on that local business screen and they click on you, that 78% are going to visit within 24 hours. That's a great statistic. So we really need to make sure we are showing up. So what are some techniques in 2022 that we've been using with inbound marketing to ensure that we are showing up? We'll look at a little bit with Google changes, local SEO, and then digital advertising here. So like I said, Google is the authority for website and search. I know there are a lot of things changing with Google. It changes almost monthly. Typically the base rules stay the same though. So we do know enough to make sure we are, doing the base again, getting those foundations and making just little changes as trends and things come out. Let's go ahead. We have some questions. Again, thank you, Craig, for using that Q&A. We'll answer at the end of the section, but definitely put them there if you're having any questions now. So with local SEO, that's obviously a really important, especially for people who are saying, I need an auto shop near me. What does that entail? The biggest part is going to be Google My Business. Google My Business, you can see on the slide here. To the right of it is our little Google My Business profile. That's what when someone searches the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence, that's what comes up. They can see website directions, our Google reviews. On the left is the dashboard I physically have as its owner. So this is where we can respond to reviews, we can add posts, we can do all kinds of things there. So your first step here is to make sure, obviously, you have a Google My Business. You should at this point. That's probably one of the first things you did, making sure that your online presence is there. But if you haven't done that already, make sure you claim your page, get that. And then the next step is filling it out. We want all that information to be correct because that turns into the NAP, which is name, address, and phone number. This is what Google is looking for to make sure the information is the same across all platforms. So that's where Google, Yelp and Bing and all of that still play an important part, even local online directories, because Google is always scanning and making sure that your information is the same. If you were to ever change businesses or accidentally type in a different phone number than what's correct, Google would say, oh, this is different. This kind of feels wrong. Something's not right here. And your rankings can suffer because of that. So definitely making sure all your information is correct. That'll be your first step. And then something that is underutilized when it comes to Google My Business. A lot of people will get that set up, will have their information, but that's the brunt of it. They use it maybe to reply to reviews. That's it. We can do so much more with it to help our rankings. They actually let you post there, and they give preference to posts that have some kind of visual content, so some kind of photo or even some video or links. So that means this is a really great place for you to be able to post about your business, share photos of your shop. Obviously, customers want to know, where they're looking for, that they're at the right place, what kind of experience they're going to have. This is a great place to put that there. And then any links, you can link to your own blog posts, and that kind of builds a backlink there for you, which helps your SEO as well. And Tatsu saying his rankings did suffer in 2022 due to that phenomenon. And it is, Google does sometimes like to say, oh, this is going to have more importance now, and change that up a little bit. But if you're doing these basics and making sure they're filled out, that helps protect against that a little bit. But definitely we should be posting here. And it's not just about our shop. We can also put posts that are local to our area. Where this is local SEO, this would be a great place if you have a local community event, or even you're trying to share about an upcoming, just sharing about a business that's near you, some kind of mutual share there. These are great places for it because you have all your local customers coming here to find it. They want to see that information. And again, then Google says, oh, they're posting a lot. They're definitely, we see them as more valuable. We will keep their ranking, if not lift it. And then lastly here really is the reviews. This is where your reviews matter. People want to go to a site. They want to know what other experiences people have had. They definitely don't trust a business that has no reviews, but they also sometimes don't trust a business that always has 5 stars. We can tend to be pessimistic as people, so do not freak out if you don't have that 5-star. That 4.8, 4.9, that's a really great place to be. But I'm going to let Zach from Broadly jump in here to share a little bit more about the importance of Google reviews.
Yeah, thanks, Lex. Yeah, you hit on some really great points. And I think what most consumers are looking for, right, when they're looking at your Google reviews and your Google business profile, is that they're looking for proof of your authentic reviews, transparent responses back from the shop itself, right? And so when they're looking at when they're looking at those the reviews, to your point, they want to make sure that there is some type of authenticity to it, right? And it's not just always a it's a 5-star review. While you're going to get a lot of those 5-star reviews, you're also going to get every now and then. You can't make everybody happy, and we know that, but it's how you handle those responses, right, and making sure that you address it publicly, because we've all gotten them. And I think the most important thing there is how you address it. And the more responses that you do, get back to those customers, Google does pick up on that, right? And it helps your overall online presence. So, whether you're just starting out, right? And I say just starting out with, taking over your Google business profile, or you've been doing it for a while, you want to continue to keep gathering those reviews, because the more frequently that you are obtaining those reviews, the higher it helps your overall page ranking. So it helps your SEO ranking, just like Lex talked about. It also helps us improve your overall trust, right? Because your reviews with I think Lex said it was around 83% of the people using Google to go out there and search for shops, and gathering that initial trust is important, because that's what your Google business profile does, right? It's that first initial virtual door to your shop and what your business is all about. So it's really important that you get that dialed out, and you get all your information in there, and you stay on top of it, because that social proof is evidence that the customers have had a positive experience with your business, and that'll in turn get them attracted to your business. And whether they call you, whether they use web chat to get a hold of you, it's just important to get your overall Google business profile filled out, stay on top of your reviews, etc.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Those reviews are so important. And I think also that social proof, we should also be responding to our reviews. That is a big thing. You sometimes get people that, whether they're good reviews or bad reviews, don't respond. You should always be responding. If it's a 5-star, saying thank you so much. If there was an issue, like we need to face those head on, that could be its own topic itself, but don't be afraid to respond to your reviews. People are watching. That is important. And what's really great about these 4 things is if you are new to this and just starting out, just doing these, making sure your Google My Business is ready, making sure your information is correct, starting to post, you could see a significant boost in your local SEO. If you are already doing these, but making little tweaks, that boost may not be as big, but it's something we should always be aware of and utilizing. So definitely after that, then we'll move into digital advertising. So we know that our website, our local SEO is started. Now, how can we set those lures, if you will, and start finding people who are looking for us and bringing them to our content? And so first off, digital advertising spend will increase in 2023. It has become one of our best marketing tactics. Everyone is spending time online, on their phone, on their laptops, all kinds of devices. We are online, so that digital marketing spend is going to increase. 2 of the ways that inbound marketing specifically pertain to digital advertising that we have seen work in 2022 are native ads and paid search, PPC, pay-per-click. So with native ads, you might be wondering what is the difference? There are all kinds of different digital marketing ads and things. But so native ads are the ones that mimic the feel of the platform they are hosted on, and typically offer content alongside a message. So this is something, if you've been on Instagram lately, you may be scrolling through your feed and you see something like, oh, that's really great. You're like, wait, I don't think I follow that person. You'll scroll back up, and even though it looks like an Instagram post, you'll see that tiny little sponsored text. And Instagram isn't the only one using this kind of native ad. It's also Spotify's been using it. You'll see it on even TikTok, but pretty much all social media platforms, and even websites with like blog and article posts. You'll see when you're reading an article, and then you'll have maybe 3 or 4 down here. Typically 1 or 2 of them will be sponsored, just to fit kind of in that environment again. One thing to note with these, they do need to be handled carefully, easily categorized as an ad, yet still valuable and engaging, because we don't want our customers to feel like we have duped them in any way, or are trying to be not great with our marketing. But again, that kind of falls into, we need to have intentional marketing if we know our customer and what they're interested in. And with inbound marketing, they've already searched us. This is typically a retargeting. so they'll feel a little bit more comfortable with us. But this is a great way to kind of slip into those places that maybe we hadn't considered before. And we'll talk with the 2023 trends specifically how to use that for your auto shop, but they have been really great, showing a really great return for 2022, and we expect to see that in 2023 as well. And then, so paid search, PPC. This is another great idea for inbound marketing. I do highly recommend working with a partner on this because this is something with marketing that gets very technical very fast. But still, as a shop owner, you should be able to say, I understand this. This is what I kind of want from this, to know the basics of it. So paid search, those are the things that, you know, those sponsored posts on Google, when they search you, you're going to come up as one of the top 2. And 2 of the things to really use that have shown to be really beneficial in 2022 with paid search were automation and then video and visual. So automation and the idea of how can we connect our paid search with some kind of funnel. That may be them clicking on a specific link and then that throws them into a retargeting campaign, which you should be doing anyways. But also if we get them onto our site with that paid search and it's something to sign them up for a newsletter or whatever it may be, we need to have a funnel, an automated creation, a funnel created automatically so that as soon as they do that, it triggers and it makes it easier for us. We're still getting our marketing out, but we're not putting as much effort. So that is a really great tool to use with PPC. And then video and visual. Video and visual, meaning that PPC used to just be those links on the top. That's all, you know, you just pay for those, click on that, that's great. But Google has realized that we as humans really enjoy video and visual, catches our eye more. We have a better, you know, it draws us in. We are kind of like crows, little shiny things. Of course, we love that more than just text. So you will start to notice that Google has been pushing paid search options that include some kind of visual, whether that's a photo or if you're doing that for a YouTube video, they'll actually push that above just the text, just the text options. So that's really something that we've been using in 2022 and we really need to be thinking of in 2023, which will really kind of flesh out those trends when we predict how that'll be. But let's move on to the final part of inbound marketing, the future. We're going to go through that, and then we will also hear from some of the shop owners we've had join us today because they have some really great insight on all of this. So of course, with the future of inbound, we're going to be looking at content, AI, and Google. Google changes. We've talked about this already. It's constantly changing. There are sites that will actually just monitor the changes, and sometimes there are multiple in a month. Typically, they're not as big, like we're all running around needing to change our marketing right away. It's just little things Google is doing. But there is one big one that is coming in 2023. The Universal Analytics will be replaced with their Google Analytics 4 in June, July of this year. So that again is something with your marketing professionals. We have been aware of this for years. We're already working on getting things switched over. There is going to be some changing with like tracking, things like that. So it's definitely, if you are working with someone, just to make sure that everything is moved over already. But there's going to be a really great trend with that I'm very excited to share in the last section. But I did just want to touch on, we just need to be aware. And again, we're playing by Google's rules. The next part is AI. We've kind of, if you came in early, you heard a little bit of us talking about how fast it's evolving for the industry. You've also probably seen a lot of news about it, especially pertaining to art. There's been a lot of going back and forth on it. But a lot of people aren't realizing that we've already been using AI and now we're just figuring out the best ways to use it. So technology, it allows us to use AI to set up chatbots, automated phone directories, even responses on our social media platforms. Zach, do you want to share a little bit more actually about the importance of AI and how they can use it on their website? Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, like I said, AI has been around for quite some time, right? And AI, a lot of us have heard of, the Google algorithms, right? Making sure that our websites are optimized, but and really, the logarithms are the basis of the AI or artificial intelligence, right? That does scan your websites. Now, to Lex's point, all that's going to get better. And like Scott and some of us were talking about at the beginning of this call, one of the great benefits of utilizing AI is for your website is in content creation, right? We're always looking to produce more content. The more content that we produce, the higher that the pages get ranked, right? And the better your SEO can be optimized. So using something as simple as Chat GPT, and we can put that in the website for content creation, can be beneficial for you. And for example, I mean, you can take a look at your paid words that are using and use AI to make sure that the content is actually utilizing your keywords that you're paying for, and make sure that that's on your website. And the better that your website is with SEO and having content, and if you're struggling with content, right, this is where AI can come in. And with that, your overall page looks better. You can even ask it to write an article on the best ways to what's the best way to reach out to your auto customers, excuse me, and you can quickly write an article about that with AI that's out there. So and that will help with your overall content, your overall SEO optimization, excuse me. Other things that you can use AI for are just real-time personalization, right? So you can utilize it to respond to your questions that you get in that come from web chat, or Google chat or Facebook chat as well. And then some folks are using AI for customer service, right? In different areas. And so, and also utilizing AI for lead generation, data collection, analyzing your overall customer base. So there's a lot of different tools that are out there that can help your business, and more importantly, will help your website, more importantly, help your business as well.
Definitely. And I think too, like AI can be used also, for responding to our customers, but then also that content creation. And just in today's world, it's kind of, we expect fast responses. We expect new content created as soon as possible. So really this helps you get a leg up, and make sure you are providing your customers with what they want. And that brings us into content creation. For inbound marketing, the future of it, really video. Video has been dominating content for so long and will continue to. There are some trends coming up that will change how we maybe create that and what we should be focusing on. But video sticking around. Interactive content, that's things like polls, quizzes, things that really help us engage with our customers, and even surveys that help us learn more about them. Like we can use that twofold, both to get that engagement, but also learn more about our customer for future marketing. And then finally, adaptive content. This is content we've started creating that can be reused. So it not only can be used omnichannel, meaning all channels we can use it on, but it's something that can easily be updated. An example is maybe having a blog post, summer's about to happen, summer's around the corner, that kind of thing. Start thinking of, it's road trip time. Here are great places near us. Make sure you get your tires checked before, that kind of brakes checked, whatever service you want to focus on. But then that's something the next year you can easily adapt by just updating, if a place closed or if you wanted to add and share again. So these are what we're really looking at there. And then, so this is kind of for inbound marketing, this is kind of our end. Like I said, we had some shop owners that we've invited to kind of talk on this. I'm going to start with Lucas Underwood, and kind of want him to share just a little bit what he's been doing with his digital marketing and how it's worked for his shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's some things you said that really stand out to me, right? And probably the first is that when we talk about content, right? You brought up that you might be scrolling through a Facebook feed, or you might be scrolling through Instagram, and you say, "Hey, I didn't follow that person. Where did that come from?" Isn't that speaking to the quality of the marketing that you're doing, that it seems so organic that they would go back to even look. It didn't feel like an ad. And one of the things that I found with my marketing is it has to be extremely organic. It has to be me. It has to be our voice. It has to be the voice of the shop. And so it's so neat to see where we've gone with AI currently, because we're starting to see that really come into fruition, right? We're getting to the point that AI is speaking as we would speak. I do the voice recording for the phone system at the shop, and people always call in. If I answer the phone, they're like, "Oh, that's you. That's so cool." I don't know why it's so cool, but I guess they enjoy it. My point is it has to be you. It has to be organic. Speaking about video, of all the things that we do in the shop here, video is really where we hit all of our marks, right? It is the thing that gets the most response. It is telling our story from our voice. One of my biggest pet peeves is I go onto a website and I see stock photos. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts, because those are not the people in the shop, and the people seeing the marketing know that it's not them. So I think that the key is really to engage and engage with the folks who are consuming your content, but you have to engage as yourself. You have to be real. You have to be a real human being, because people work with people they know, like, and trust. I know we hear that all the time, all over the place, but that is the key to successful marketing. And so I think if you can do that through video, if you can do that through social media, if you can do that when they walk through the door, right? And I think all too often we look at inbound content and we say, well, it's got to be online. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. So many times our marketing's happening at the front counter. My dad's owned a tourist attraction since the 50s, right? And one of the things my dad's always said to me is, son, they will remember what you tell them to remember. They will remember the story you tell them. And so we want to make sure we're telling the story of the shop. We want to make sure we're explaining to them why car care is important. We want to make sure they feel like part of our family. And that's where we found our greatest success in marketing this year.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think you have such a good point, because we talk a lot about intentional marketing, making sure we know what we're doing with our marketing, why we're doing it. But sometimes we forget about it needs to be organic. It needs to get our voice across. And so even when we are using things like AI, this can create that base blog post, but we should still go through it just to scan, make sure it still sounds like us. And we really want that online experience to match the in-person experience. So that was really great takeaways. Thank you so much, Lucas. We also have Frank here. Frank, if you wanted to share a little bit about digital marketing website, just what you found the most impactful this year.
Thanks, and hello, everybody. I have found that the way back to the search, as you said earlier, is so critical. My research, excuse me, shows people aren't really searching for automotive repair. They're searching for my Toyota Camry sounds like a lawnmower, and they're looking for information. So many years ago, we made it a point to become an educational consultation type service. We want to educate our customers. So it's really important that that's your message, that you get that message across. You want to give your customers information so they can make an informed decision. And this has helped us avoid price battles, right? Because it's not about how much, it's about transparency, showing them with pictures and videos what's going on and why. Taking it a step further, Lucas, you're dead on about the message needs to be the same. Everything that we put out online, I can hear my, 3 service advisors tell the customers all the same exact thing. And, everything about the process and expectations lines up with everything we say online. One thing I would pull the plug on is automated phone systems. Personally, I think if we all reflect for a moment and want to get a quick question answered, and I have to push more than 2 buttons to speak to somebody, I'm out. I refuse to play the press 3 to be rerouted to sequence number 1 to rehear the options of sequence number 7 to decide if you want to stick around for 9 more minutes if you want to do business with us. So I would really caution people on that, and make sure your Google My Business page has content. Google looks at that. It's part of everything that Google looks at. They want the whole picture. Google's really focusing on relevant content. Is what I'm presenting relevant to the questions being asked? And that's why it's so important that it's a message in your voice, real world examples. discussing answering the questions of what people are looking to get done. Social media needs to tie into, again, consistency is critical in everything you do to make sure that message is all the same across the board.
Yes, that consistency is always key across everything. And I do agree with the automated phone systems. Anything with AI, we need to remember that we're trying to make it easier for our customers, not harder. So if we are making that one simple question a 4-click process, that's not going to work for us. But it is something, if if your shop is out, definitely something to set up there. But really great insight. And we did have one question. Craig, you had asked, does Apple have a release date for their maps, and will they give Yelp the boot? So I do know that the Maps update was actually supposed to go live today. I did not see this morning if it's been finished yet. So I will check on that and let you know. As for them giving Yelp the boot, I don't think so. There's been a lot of talk back and forth each way. I think Yelp is staying, at least for now. Obviously, again, it is still important to have your information there. Google is still king, will still play by their rules. But it does seem like Apple is keeping Yelp for right now. If that does change, of course, we'll let you know. And like I said, that Maps update should be coming today, so that should give it a little boost there. But thank you guys so much for sharing on that. That's our questions for this section. We're going to go into a small break. It'll be about 4 minutes. So if we want to join, if you need to get a drink, go to the restroom, anything like that, do that now. And we'll be back about 9:47, and we'll play a little video for you all. Let's go there. Okay. And we will see you in just a few minutes.
Want to stand out from the competition? With Broadly, you can automatically text or email review requests to customers when service is complete. All your customers have to do is tap the request right from their phone to leave a review. Consistent new reviews gets your business more attention from people looking for your services. Take advantage of that attention by instantly capturing qualified leads with automated web chat. Easily respond to and win over leads, plus follow up with new and loyal customers through text and email. You can offer no-risk payment plans for large jobs and send mobile invoices, so customers can pay you in full, quickly, and conveniently. Broadly connects with the systems you already use, so when the job is done, you can automatically collect another great review. Sign up for a free trial and get started today.
At the Institute, we believe in a better business, a better life, and a better industry.
And we know that with the ever-changing technology, training is a must if you're going to stay abreast of what's going on with cars.
I think every shop owner wants your service advisor to feel responsible, feel like, they're bringing something to the team.
If you seek out the training and you follow the systems and processes, it'll actually work. It's a pretty amazing thing. It feels good to go from just surviving to thriving.
There's a total investment that you grow as a person. You really, you learn stuff about yourself that you don't really know, and the education behind that really matters.
Even if you feel like you manage your shop quite well, this is a great resource. And
and ARO of 15%. If you want to see growth in your shop like this, schedule a free business assessment with us today. We'll take a look at where you are now, where you'd like your shop to be, identify what's standing in your way, and help you on your path towards success.
All right, thank you guys. Quick break and good to go into the next section. I did just want to kind of address something. We did have someone come in and kind of ask, why do we have the shop owners here today that we do? Everyone, we have Frank, we have Lucas, we have Scott, as well as all of you, all own shops and have used this marketing and shown that it really works. And of course, it also helps, we are able to reach them easily when they are using Shop-Ware and Broadly and everything. But everyone here is a shop owner and has some really good insight onto this. Obviously, Frank and Scott and Lucas were so kind to offer to share that with us. But we do have the chat open. So if you do have more insight you'd like to add or ask questions, we'd love to have that. But let's go on to the second section, moving into outbound marketing. So outbound marketing, we talked that, inbound is the pull, this is the push. This is where we are getting in front of people, even if they aren't necessarily looking for us yet. It has gotten a bit of a bad rap, people, especially as inbound marketing has shown to have such a value. But that doesn't mean we should focus on inbound marketing alone. We still need that outbound marketing. And any marketing strategy for 2023 should have a mix of both, tailored to your ideal customer's needs. For outbound marketing, this is going to be that marketing that we use to stay relevant and front of mind, both for potential customers and return customers. People that may have used our service before might have forgotten, might not realize they have another service due. Like, we are using this marketing to get in front of them again, remind them of us, remind them of a problem they have that we can solve for them. We are still using that same funnel of creating awareness and consideration, but we are using messaging and technology to kind of push them into the purchase or, into that preference spot, kind of push them wherever they may be further down. And again, they may not be looking for a need or realize that yet, but we're going to remind them of it. And just like inbound marketing, this does need to be done with intent. It needs to be a nurturing way. We want to further bring in new and returning customers to our marketing funnel. Cold calls and cold direct mail only work to an extent. We need to really focus on the outbound marketing techniques that work the best without alienating our customers or using too much effort. Outbound marketing includes so many things: email, commercials, direct mail, LinkedIn, even social media. That can be an outbound marketing tactic as well. But we're going to go ahead and start with email marketing, direct mail, and even automation again. So let's look at that. Okay, so email marketing, this is something that, again, can be both an inbound and outbound strategy. You'll typically find that with marketing, anything we're doing has multiple uses, and we need to be able to use it to its fullest extent. But I did save email marketing for the outbound section since we are talking about sending messages out to our leads. How we got the leads is what really defines it as inbound versus outbound. A lead list purchased or gathered from an event with no interaction would be classified as that outbound. Kind of think that cold contact again. While a lead list created from interested parties coming to our site and signing up for a newsletter would be inbound. One thing is, I do not recommend using paid for lists or lists from events where you have not gotten explicit consent to email. The ROI is typically terrible on there because we haven't created that relationship, and that, again, you can do marketing well enough that you are creating that relationship in that outbound reach. But with things like paid for lists, you don't typically see that. And if people are marking you as spam, your email provider then says, ooh, we're not sending good emails. And when you try to send a new email to future clients that may have been interested, because you had so many spams, that inbox might put you directly to spam. So then you are not reaching as many people with that. So just a note to remember when we are talking about email marketing. A lot of people think I need to go right away to emailing 10,000 people, in my area, no matter how I got the email. Not these days. People like to know that they are in control of their email box and that they've had some sort of relationship there. That being said, oh, and it looks like just making sure, are you guys seeing the marketing with email, direct mail, and automation slide? I just want to make sure it didn't cut out. Zach said he is. Scott said he is. So maybe Roxanne, I'm not sure on yours. Okay, that's just making sure. Thank you guys. Again, if you have any issues like that, let us know in the chat. That is, things with webinars, technical difficulties happen sometimes. But the thing with email that's so great is that on average, there's a $36 ROI for every $1 spent on email marketing. That's a great return when you consider all other marketing techniques. So things like newsletters, and this doesn't have to be a weekly newsletter, even a monthly newsletter. We have clients that send out a quarterly or even a biannual, just because they know what their clients like, they know what they need to send out. That's fine. You don't have to inundate them with information. Just again, creating those touch points and reminding them of you when you might have slipped their mind. This is also a great aspect for, and if you have any specials, if a certain season, like we were just talking about road trip season for summer, that's a great thing, a great message to kind of change to promote whatever service you'd like to. And then also community updates, anything your shop is doing in your community. This is a great place for that. So email marketing is one in 2022 that has shown to be a great outbound marketing technique, and we will continually, use in 2023. So now direct mail. Much like outbound marketing in general, direct mail has had a little bit of a reputation, hit in the last few years. You will even hear some people say that it is dead altogether and to only use digital marketing. I disagree with that. I don't think you should only be using direct mail. I do think it needs to be integrated, especially because marketers have found that there's a 28% higher conversion rate with an integrated campaign. So that means if we are sending a direct mail, we should also be backing it up with a digital marketing campaign. Just because also digital is easier to track than direct mail. I know direct mail has been working to make that a little bit easier, but still you can't get easier than tracking links as people click on them. I think direct mail should definitely be kept to a targeted area and sent to customers who respond the most to them. For example, we have a client that specializes in some pricier makes and models, and they know that their ideal client base is in an affluent area and typically an older generation. So they found that their direct mail campaigns have almost always outdone their digital campaigns, which is not typical, so definitely a grain of salt. But it shows that they actually said, oh, hey, our customers are really responding to this. They really like direct mail. Let's continue and make sure that's a part of our marketing campaign. And it's had a great ROI for them. That won't be the case with everyone, but there have been a lot of studies done that show even younger generations, because typically we have that, oh, they're always on their phone, they never check the mail. It is exciting to get mail. And even as we are maybe sorting it and saying, I don't know about this, we are at least getting some brand recognition and awareness with that. But definitely with direct mail, it's using sparingly and as an add-on. That should not be the brunt of your 2023 campaign. And then we're going to talk back in automation. You'll see this will come up a lot, just because it's something that can be used in pretty much all marketing techniques. And it's another way to kind of integrate that inbound and outbound strategy. So whether you have a potential customer that clicked on your site and decided to sign up for a newsletter, or even a potential client that an advisor added to your email list because they got a quote or something like that, you can set up automation to trigger the same or different email journeys that is also personalized. This quickly becomes an outbound technique when you kind of consider the scope of automation. We can start setting up text reminders for people who have gone a year or whatever length of time without a service. We can set up email reminders for people who got a quote but didn't book. These are all things that can be tied into your CRM and even your SMS and really just make life a little bit easier, not only for your staff, but also for your customers. And it keeps your messaging relevant and on point. And again, we keep touching base with our customers. And they've actually shown that email automation is the 4th most popular email tactic, which when there are so many email tactics, that is really cool to see. And you might kind of be asking, okay, like I get that, but why is this automation so important? Why do we need to touch base with our customers so often? So let's look at some outbound marketing statistics from 2023 or 2022, excuse me. jumping into the future apparently. Same thing, we'll read over them and kind of look at some key takeaways. So 32% of marketers see more leads from outbound marketing. 30%, more than that actually, of leads that are not followed up after their initial rejection. So whether they didn't sign up for something, they didn't book your service, they didn't show up for their appointment, if you scheduled a call, that kind of thing, more than 30% of those leads are not being followed up on. 80% of leads don't convert until after the 5th follow-up. And then people are more likely to book with you when there's personalization by 4.2 times. So almost 5 times, a little over 4, we'll say a little over 4 times more likely to book with personalization. 92% of people trust recommendations, which makes sense, but only 11% of sellers are asking for recommendations. So our key takeaways here: outbound marketing is still so important, to the fact that some marketers are seeing more leads, which makes sense. They're getting out in front of people who may not have searched them yet. And if you have your outbound marketing campaign targeted on the right people and keep on top of it, you could see more leads there. Again, combining with that inbound is really where you're going to see the best return for that. And then automation. Let's use that automation to follow up with these leads that aren't being followed up on, to make sure that we are having touch points at least 5 times. That's how many times customers have to hear from you before they make that jump. So we want to stay in front of them. And then also it makes it easy to ask for reviews. If you have a text, a text message as soon as their service is done that just says, hey, would you leave a review on Google? If you automate that, you don't have to remember to ask, because human error, we do forget things. Sometimes things come up. We may not, it may just be hard to get into that aspect of always asking. This can do that for us. And then lastly, the personalization and relationship building still matter. Even in outbound marketing, we need to make sure the techniques and strategies we're using don't come off as robotic. Lucas and Frank both had really good points of this. Like, we need to be kind of organic and original. So we really have to meld that when we are reaching out to new people, to show them who we are as a business and make them want to book with us. And then again, when we provide those great service, we get those recommendations, we get those reviews, people are more likely to do business with us. And so now let's go into outbound digital advertising. So digital advertising is something that, again, can be used outbound or inbound. And it's going to, the spend will increase in 2023. So where should we be focusing our money? Knowing that we should maybe be spending a little bit more money, both on inbound and outbound, what do we focus on? So this might actually be surprising, but commercial advertising is still one of the leading categories when it comes to overall digital marketing spend. And whether we're one shop or running a multi-shop MSO, we can still use this avenue. It's not just for big businesses. Small businesses can use it too. However, we do have to be more intentional and really think about this. Where is our ideal customer listening? Is there a local news channel that we know they're watching that we could, see if we can get a segment on? Or maybe there's a specific radio station. And if you are considering audio commercials, we've actually had some clients that have started looking at streaming services. So actually advertising on Pandora or Spotify, and instead just setting up a localized. So then no matter what your kind of customer will be listening to, if they're in a certain area and things, you can set up marketing like that to capture them, which as audio changes, Spotify, Pandora, those things are all really big. So that might be a better way to get than news radio stations. But again, depends on your customer. And then the biggest one is display ads. There are so many different kind of display ads, but we'll focus on kind of some of the most important because display ads are probably the top digital advertising spend. And we know that some of these are considered inbound, especially if we are doing retargeting or whatnot. But the other ones we're setting up to kind of just, again, we know where they're at, we're going after them. They may not be searching us yet, but we want to show up. And these are typically seen with banner ads, retargeted ads, white box ads, and responsive display, excuse me. Oh, and Tatsu had a really good point. It depends on your market too. The radio and TV market in LA and OC is really expensive. I completely agree with you there. So it is something that you need to be aware of, look if it fits into your budget and what the return is going to be. If there is, I know we have some couple clients local to Utah where there are some news channel segments that they've been able to get onto without it costing as much. But definitely something to be aware of, and always know that you need to look at these marketing strategies and find out what's going to work best for you. Whether that, considering your ideal customer, considering your budget, and what's going to get you the best return for what you're looking for. So don't be afraid to be like, this one might not work, but I think this one will. Be a little bit discerning in that. But back to display ads, and thank you, Tatsu, for your comment. So we're putting up we're putting these out there wherever we think a customer might pop up who's not necessarily looking for us, but we want to get their attention. You'll see here I have two examples. On the left one, this is a banner ad. So this will be on any site. It'll just show up no matter what they're looking for, that kind of thing. And then on the right is a retargeted ad. So that means someone did click on this site, they didn't do anything, so they're doing a secondary offer here, which would kind of get into more of the inbound. Retargeted ads are one of those crossovers between inbound and outbound, because someone did come look at us, but we are still putting it back in their face, like, hey, don't forget about us, we're still over here. So what's really great is we can set all of this up on Google Ads, which again, this part does get very technical, and so I'm just giving you a base idea so that you know what you're going into when you are working with someone. And retargeted ads are going to show up again when someone already clicks on something. Lightbox ads and responsive display are more interactive. Oh, as I change the profile on us, sorry. Oh my gosh. 1 second. I clicked the wrong button. All right, we're going to go previous. Okay, there we go. And that's actually really good because John asked a question. So I'm going to use that little mistake to jump on that. So John asked, any consensus on what % of revenue should be spent annually on advertising/marketing for a growing shop? That is a great question. And so I will just say for one's growth.
I was going to step in on this, Lex.
Yeah, definitely, if you want to.
What we're recommending is 4 to 6% to retain 4 to 6% of your overall revenue should be spent on marketing to retain where you're at. Anywhere from 6 to 9% in a growing business.
Yes, and I definitely agree with that. And you will have some people that even recommend 10% or more. Again, it's definitely depending where you're at, how much growth you want to see, and what strategies and avenues you're looking to invest in. But I definitely agree, 4 to 6% to maintain, anywhere from that 6 to 9, even into that 10% to keep growing. Perfect. Okay, and so then we'll just touch base really quick on the Lightbox ads. So these are the ones that you'll see will be really small, and then when you click or hover on them, they expand. That is what Google has created to give some kind of qualification. Obviously, they were interested enough to hover for long enough or click on it, so that is some qualification there for customers that are just seeing our advertising maybe for the first time. And then responsive display, this one is really neat because we kind of get to use all the information that Google has created, their algorithm and stuff, we get to use it to our advantage. Basically, what we do is say, hey, Google, here is a mix of different creative, a couple different headers, a couple different detail lines, and a couple different pictures. And you do want to make sure that all of these will make sense no matter how they're mixed up. Because then what Google does is says, okay, these are the customers you're looking for. Based on their previous activity and behaviors online, this is the ad, this specific mix is the ad that will do best with them. So really it's being able to use Google's algorithm to your advantage and show the ads that are going to be most engaged with. And Google does continue to learn and continue seeing what your customers are doing and changing that as needed. So that is just something that's kind of really neat for digital ads, that we're able to have that ability. Especially because playing by Google's rules can be a little tiring sometimes. So getting them to do some of that work for us is always great. And then lastly, geofencing. This is one you might have heard talked about a lot in 2022. It definitely was one of the top strategies that a lot of people were recommending. And it's one that can definitely work with intention again. So this type of targeting strategy kind of starts, can be a mix of inbound and outbound. If you know where your ideal customers like to visit, or maybe even there's a local dealership that you know you provide better service than, you can set up a meta fence around it. And when they enter that area, as well as there's usually some other guidelines you've sent, whether they've clicked on an ad or searched a certain thing, like obviously people just entering into this may not be who you're going for, but you'll set different guidelines with it. But they'll be sent specific marketing because it's shown not only have they done these guidelines, marked off this checklist, but they're also where we want them to be. So there are a myriad of ways to send it. You can use this with text messaging services. Again, if you already have their information, this would be a return customer tactic. You can start sending ads through social media or web, those display ads, those retargeted ads, those are going to start popping up. And those are ones for new customers because you don't already need that information like phone number and things. And then even notifications via apps. This part does lean more towards retailers that work with coupon apps and the like, but if you are doing something like that, this can easily be tied into geofencing. And this gives so many retargeting opportunities for the future and enforces that conversion after the 5th follow-up idea. We are continuing to have those touch points, keep getting in their face, and they will know us and they will be aware of our brand. The only downside with geofencing, especially as we see some privacy settings and things change in 2023, is that a lot of people have turned off their location services to whether they're avoiding this kind of marketing or they just don't want their location tracked for any reason. So you will have some potential customers that are just, this will not work for them because they do not use that. And then some, it does come off a little bit big brotherish to some people. So definitely something we need to be intentional with, providing value and giving kind of that organic messaging. Just another way though, to get in front of people who we may be missing out on. And what's really great is that, which I've kind of given away if you saw that, little head skip over there. But this is something we don't need to just use with our customers, potential and returning. We can actually use marketing for our staffing. So we all know that our industry is really working through a technician shortage right now, and that it can be hard to find qualified technicians for your business. Both outbound and inbound marketing can be used to alleviate this problem, especially as we go into the new year. So where do you start with this though? How do I start using my marketing for my staffing as well? Well, we know we have our ideal customer profiles, right? We know what kind of age, the demographics, we know what kind of areas they're going to, we know all that. But do we know the same for our employees? Like, obviously we know we want them to have certain certifications, certain level of education and seeing. And excuse me. So, okay. Tatsu was just saying he's not seeing that thing mentioned earlier about website speed. We will relink that for you, Tatsu, at the end. Thank you for letting me know. Thanks you, Roxanne. She's on it. So yes, definitely check that. But going back into target marketing for staffing. So this ideal employee profile, we know we want certain certifications. There's certain things they need to do for their position. But do we know, like, how are we considering our culture? Like, obviously, a lot of us have been working as we're fighting this tech shortage and just, the great resignation that everyone's been talking about. We've really been focusing on creating culture, creating an environment that employees want to stay in and be a part of. So we need to consider these things when we are building an ideal, like an employee profile. Who do you want working for you? What are they interested in outside of that job, the job itself? And so then when you have that ideal employee profile, you can use it in marketing campaigns. LinkedIn is going to be one of the biggest things because anyone that's looking for a new job, that's where they start. LinkedIn, Indeed, those kind of things. So obviously posting your job, sharing your job posting on those sites, that's going to be the first step. But with LinkedIn, you can go further. And to do that, first you need your business profile set up. So if you don't already have a page for your business on LinkedIn, go ahead, get that created. That's going to be your first step. If you do, it is like Google My Business. You also need to be posting content to it. It's yes, it's great just to have it there, but you need to be posting content, not just for future customers, but for employees. So when they do see that link, they do see that listing, they pop over, they actually get a look at what your shop is like. So the content that's really great here is kind of that behind the scenes. What is going on in your shop, what things do you have upcoming, what kind of training are you doing for your staff, like maybe even employee testimonials, your staff talking about how much they love working there. Those kinds of things are what really matter to your LinkedIn profile. And then what's great is you can now create targeted campaigns. We know what position we want to fill. We have an idea of who we want working for us, maybe some of the areas they're hanging out in, or some of the things they're interested that we can further use for that targeting. Now we need to use that across LinkedIn and social media. And so, and this is like, it seems a little strange at first. And I worked with actually a lot of clients to kind of create this campaign of what messaging matters the most. And obviously things like people do want to know about benefits and pay, and being transparent around that is never a bad idea, in my opinion. But things like the culture and that and the environment are actually mattering more to the newer generations as we go on. They want to make sure that the place they're working supports them. Obviously, they're going to be spending a lot of time there. So again, using that ideal employee profile to say, okay, these are going to be some of the things that matter to the person I want working in my shop. Let's go ahead and use that. And it won't just be text campaigns. Obviously, you're going to need visuals, whether that's an image, laying out the different points or whatnot. But even if you had some videos, sharing testimonials, things like that could all be used in this. And so LinkedIn is a great place for that. So social media.
I wanted to add to this, what you're really trying to share within these advertisements for people on your team is the experience of what it's like to work for you. So a lot of the content, the organic content, should come directly from your existing employees. If you're doing training, film them talking about the value of training for them and how it benefits them in their career. Talk about the experience of your culture and how coming into your shop and working in your shop is easier for them. It makes them fulfilled. It makes them satisfied. And that's really what you need to be putting here as far as content is concerned.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Definitely things from your employee's point of view, because that is where they will be and that's what matters to them. And making sure, again, that you are sharing that everywhere you can, LinkedIn, social media. But then one other layer that we can add to this that sometimes people don't realize beyond just doing those campaigns is that geofencing. So if you know that if you know where your potential employee would hang out, you can set different fences around those areas. But we've even seen some people have started fencing around maybe local dealerships or competitors that they know they offer a better experience. And again, you can set these as retargeting. So once they click on this ad on your LinkedIn or on the social media, they click on this, they're interested. Then you set up that fence around, once they enter into that area. But this is a great way for you to kind of maybe look at some of the other force and say, hey, like we have, pay and benefits, again, that does matter, but this is the culture you'll be working on, because we do know that those culture in dealerships isn't always the kind of culture we want to create in our industry as a whole. So this is a technique that you can use to further get your message out and again, reach people who may be looking that you're not aware of, but they already work in a industry similar. So this one, again, these are all kind of a mix of inbound and outbound marketing, but often people stop at creating that post and sharing it once or twice, but then forgetting how they can go further with LinkedIn and social media and even the geofencing and other digital advertising techniques we've talked about. And again, I'm going to give some time over to our shop owners to share a little bit about their outbound marketing strategies. If you do have any questions, remember we have the Q&A or the chat. Scott, did you want to share a little bit just about outbound marketing, digital marketing?
Sure, thank you. Lots of great information being shared. Just to kind of reinforce some of the things that were talked about, creating unique content. When you're sharing content, that can happen daily. And I'll just tell you what we do in our shop is we've got office assistants, and they'll pay attention to what's happening in the shop. And if we see something very interesting, just grab their phone and grab a few pictures. We share it in a channel and internally in a Slack channel called marketing. And we're able to collect that data. And then when it comes time to actually doing some marketing, we've got the material that we can generate. Because Lucas made a really good point earlier with unique, do not use stock stuff, because that just is a big negative. I really do I am looking for a new staff member, and I like what you were just talking about, creating that culture environment. That is something unique. And I've had some clients or some potential hires come in and say that they actually did some research on us and looked at our website and looked at our heritage and all that. But we don't have much in regards to the culture. So that's one of my next to-do items for sure. It's hard to really add on to what you've shared. A lot of great stuff here. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I love the idea of having something set up where your employees can share everything. So you do have that resource. That is so great, because it can be really hard when you're like, I have this great marketing idea, but I have to ask everyone. It takes so long. So if you do have a Slack channel or even email where they can just send like, I took took these pictures or filmed this testimonial, that is a really great idea. I think you had something to add. Yeah.
There are a lot of technicians out there in the industry, those that are coming into the industry and those who have been in the industry, that are looking for good places to work. And if you are a good place to work, you have good culture, you pay them well, you do right by your employees, it serves the industry as a whole to be marketing your positions out there, to provide a means for them to find these good places to work. We had a lot of attrition last year in the industry, and we're going to continue to see that in 2023. So if you're not marketing for your staff and putting that out there, at least just to put it out there, you should do this.
Definitely. And I completely agree. And also, when we're talking, Zach, you messaged and brought up kind of a good point. When we are talking about like sharing on social media and stuff, if you have a presence as like a shop owner in the industry and stuff, great to use that page as well. But your social media, you do want to have like an Instagram business page, a Facebook business page. That's what we're talking about with this. Just be super clear on that. But this is a great idea to, yes, give prospective employees an idea of the culture. And it also helps prospective clients too, because they come in and they're like, oh, this is a great place to work. I want to go somewhere where I know the employees are being taken care of. Like, that matters. And we'll talk about that a little bit in 2023, because social responsibility, that is a trend we're seeing. But we are at our next break point. So thank you, Scott and Kent, for both sharing some things on that. Really appreciate that. We're going to go into one more break before we go into our final section. So we'll go ahead and start at be back around. We'll do 10:23. We'll see y'all in a minute.
At the Institute, we believe in a better business, a better life, and a better industry.
And we know that with the ever-changing technology, training is a must if you're going to stay abreast of what's going on with cars.
I think every shop owner wants your service advisor to feel responsible, feel like, they're bringing something to the team.
If you seek out the training and you follow the systems and processes, it'll actually work. It's a pretty amazing thing. It feels good to go from just surviving to thriving.
And there's a total investment that you grow as a person. You really, you learn stuff about yourself that you don't really know, and the education behind that really matters.
Even if you feel like you manage your shop quite well, this is a great resource, and I appreciate all the Institute do for us and for our business, and of course, for the family of my employees.
And these are only a few of the clients that we work with. In fact, in 2022 alone, our group members saw an average increase in their net profits and ARO of 15%. If you want to see growth in your shop like this, schedule a free business assessment with us today. We'll take a look at where you are now, where you'd like your shop to be, identify what's standing in your way, and help you on your path towards success.
Want to stand out from the competition? With Broadly, you can automatically text or email review requests to customers when service is complete. All your customers have to do is tap the request right from their phone to leave a review. Consistent new reviews gets your business more attention from people looking for your services. Take advantage of that attention by instantly capturing qualified leads with automated web chat. Easily respond to and win over leads, plus follow up with new and loyal customers through text and email. You can offer no-risk payment plans for large jobs and send mobile invoices, so customers can pay you in full, quickly, and conveniently. Broadly connects with the systems you already use, so when the job is done, you can automatically collect another great review. Sign up for a free trial and get started today.
All right. Okay. We are back and ready to go into our third and final section, and that is trends for 2023. So this is one I'm most excited on. But we just had to get through, what people are already using. And
At the
then let's
Institute,
go
we believe in a
ahead.
better.
We'll get there. There we go. Okay, so how can we take advantage of some of these 2023 marketing trends, and what should we be doing this year in our auto shops? This is just a brief overview. We will look at each of these in depth, but we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence some more, specifically utilizing it to make our customers' journey and our operations smoother. Social responsibility, showing that we care and are part of the community. Native ads, we've talked about that a little bit, but we're going to talk more about the ways we can do it to make that seamless, not so in your face kind of interaction, and just adding to that potential customer's online experience. And then we'll talk a little bit more about that Google change. We've talked about the shift to GA4, but there is kind of an exciting, interesting trend with it that we could take advantage of. And then short-term video. That is the new trend. We aren't looking at long video anymore. Short-term video is kind of dominating. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And specifically for our industry, electric vehicles, people are buying more. We need to be able to service them, let alone market them. And then advocate marketing, also known as influencer marketing. We're likely to see this become more of an important part of our strategies in our specific industry. So let's take a look at those trends for 2023. But first, we're going to look at why are we seeing these trends? What are the statistics that are backing it up? So here are some more stats. If you can't tell, I love running the numbers. That's the analytical part of me. So hopefully these numbers excite you as much as I do. But again, we'll run through them and kind of look at key takeaways. This first one blows my mind. A campaign, so any marketing campaign, is 300% more likely to succeed. So it's 3 times more likely to succeed with documentation. Not trying a new strategy, not anything, just simply writing it down and saying, we're doing this because of this, makes a campaign 3 times more likely to succeed. That's crazy. But we'll go on to the next one. More than 60% of clicks are going to those first 5 search results. And then with that, more than 50% of LinkedIn traffic ends up going to someone's website or a blog post. Content strategy costs 60% less, with 3 times the return when we compare it to other marketing strategies. There's an 85% increase in conversion with video. And then more than 80% of internet traffic is video. So obviously that first one, intentional marketing with a defined strategy. That's the key to success, knowing why we're doing what we're doing and making sure we're documenting and checking on it. And then local SEO and SEO work are still very important going into 2023. More than 60% of clicks are just going to those 5 search results. That means less than half of people are ever even going below those. So we need to do everything we can to be in those top search results. And then video. Video is so important and will continue to be. Obviously, it increases conversions, and most people are searching for video these days. And then finally, content marketing, which is a part of inbound marketing. It has some of the best returns. So we really need to make sure we're using that because we want that best return. And it may have some of that more work on the beginning, but then again, as we're reusing it, a little bit less work for us long-term. But some really great stats on that. So let's go into the first 3 trends we want to look at. And so this first one, AI, we've kind of talked about it already. we need to make sure we're responding to our customers as fast as we can. So using AI to set up chatbots on both our website and social media platforms helps like get those quick responses. And it takes off some of that responsibility from our shoulders, but as well as if we are setting up a manager or someone else on our team to monitor these responses, if a customer walks in, they have to deal with that. They don't have the time to respond right away. We might have just lost that potential customer. So that is one reason why chatbots have shown to be so effective. And you can see that marketers, 89% of them have found chatbots to be useful in customer interactions. That's a pretty good statistic, especially for something that sometimes AI people sometimes get where they're like the robotic stuff, but as long as we're personalizing it, making it easier for the customer, it is beneficial. And then AI is that feature of automation. So something we've talked about using both our CRM and our email marketing. We really need to make it easy for our customers to find everything, make it easier on our staff. So when we are having people click on those ads or sign up for the newsletter, let's put them right into a funnel that introduces our team, talks about why we're in this business, gives some background. And then, obviously there will be an offer pushing some kind of thing, but let's get them more involved with us, make it easy so that we can take a little bit of that brunt of the marketing off our shoulders and really focus on, systems, processes, all the other important stuff, especially as shop owners that we have to do. I say we as if I'm a shop owner, that you guys have to do. You guys do a lot of work. It's amazing to me. So, all right. So artificial intelligence, that is huge. And we've talked about it too, beyond just automation and like chatbots, creating content for us. Zach had some really great ideas in that second section of, using it for a blog post, even using it for like scripting. I've seen so many people use it for scripting to get an idea. But it can be created so easily. It's again, just making sure we want to remember that personalization. So anything we are doing, make sure to run through, matches your voice, matches your image. We're good there. But that's definitely something in 2023 that I think we will continue to see grow, especially with AI evolving so fast. So definitely be open to that in your marketing. But again, make sure intentional, why you're doing it and what you want out of it. And then, okay, social responsibility is our next one. So today's world kind of seems like constant bad news, which is one, just because we have so much information at our hands, it's hard not to know everything that's going on. But because of that, people have really started to care, and they probably cared before, but again, we have so much information that we see this more. People care that brands and services are supporting a good cause. And you can see here, more than 90% say that they're willing to switch to brands that support a good cause. And I think something with auto shops, definitely we can look at giant scopes of things going on in the world, but really focusing on our community and who's local to us. These are the potential customers. These are the people that really matter. So some of the best ways to start showing your social responsibility, community efforts. What's going on? Is there a community outreach program or a volunteer drive that you could support or even participate in? And this is also a great time to talk to your employees. Are they already doing some things like this? Do they already have a cause that they really support? Even like maybe one of your managers has a child enrolled in some kind of baseball, softball or baseball league, and they're looking for support. Things like that. Find out what your team is interested in and, help them create that. And I want to say this is, go on, Ken.
I was going to say, we had a client who had one of their customers' houses burned down. And so they used their platform, their business to create a fund for that family. I mean,
yes, they actually even went beyond where they had already had a referral program. So people were able to donate their funds for that to actually transfer that into a donation. They offered that on top of just accepting monetary donation. But that's something that it was a great outpouring. And obviously they did this to help that family, that customer, that customer has been in their community for a while. They wanted to support them. And I will say that's something too. Sometimes people, when they hear social responsibility and things, they think that we're doing this just for clout or whatnot. But when we're focusing on our local community, we are doing it to make our community a better place. And yes, we can share on marketing and social media, and it will help our potential customers realize that, they want to do business with us. But it also inspires some good to be done by them too. They're like, oh, they're out volunteering today. I want to help in that next project. Like
marketing can be
industry.
Marketing can be much more than self-serving.
Exactly. We need to use it to lift our industry and our community. And again, this is a really great option. It's omnichannel, so that's stuff you can be sharing about, whether you are raising funds for something or you're going to be part of a volunteer, something coming up, or an auction for a local, sports group, something like that. Like it can really be tailored to what matters to you and your employees. And that also talks about creating that culture, showing prospective employees as well that this is what we care about and we do want to give back to the community. But just making sure we're sharing about that too. I know a lot of times people sometimes feel like that might be bragging or, I am just doing this for the clout. But like we said, it inspires and it lifts our community more, and we should be highlighting that. And people are going to be expecting to see that, especially in this coming year. So definitely something to consider with your 2023 marketing. What community efforts are you doing and how can you share about them? And then we will get into native ads. These are the next big trend. We've kind of already talked about them a little bit, but I first want to talk about that change with Google. So Universal Analytics is changing over to Google Analytics 4, which will have some change in how things are tracked and what we're able to see on the marketing side. And so while we've been saying, digital spend is definitely going to increase. We see this in 2023. But because of this change, it's actually being predicted that in this first quarter, a lot of people will be spending less on their digital marketing. So what does that mean? First off, that means there's potential a bigger return. If we are continuing to spend the same or even more, less people are bidding on some of that, we're able to potentially get bigger return on the things we're already doing in the digital space. Now, the next question is, but should we also be holding back our spending? Honestly, I don't think so, because Google, they understand that they are the ruler and they're doing as much as possible to make this as seamless. If people start, if marketers see such a drastic change that they stop using or don't want to use Google, that's a problem for Google. So they're going to make this as seamless as possible. And I don't think we're really going to see the need to push all that spending into the final 3 quarters. So just to say, if you hear something about that, really, kind of think about it. I don't think you'd be wrong to keep your spending the same or even do a little bit more spending, especially if you are new to digital marketing and the ad space, Google ad space. So native ads, this really, again, we want to make that seamless. We're going to be using our ideal customer profile here, finding the spaces they're already about, sharing our message. And like Lucas and I were talking in that first section, we want them scrolling on their feed and it feeling so seamless that they see us. And it kind of becomes one of those fifth where we talked about conversions happen after that 5th follow-up. It makes those follow-ups a little bit easier. Like they're just, oh, okay. Like, oh yeah, I saw something about that. I remember seeing them. Oh, they did something really cool with their employees, or, oh, they had a special going on, something like that. Like we really just need to make sure we are using native ads, but being targeting with them. And one of the reasons why native ads are so cool and why they are the trend for 2023 is that they've already found that long-term native campaigns have a lower average CPC, which is cost per click, of 36.4%. So nearly the 30% less of cost than an other marketing campaign. So just as we're thinking of where to spend our money on digital advertising, native ads are a really great place to go, just knowing that does say long-term native campaigns. So just like digital marketing in general, you cannot expect results within like a week. You need to give it time to learn, to be presented to the right people. But in long-term native ads will definitely get you a higher return and typically cost less too. So that's a win-win. And then now we'll go into other trends. Okay, so short-term video. First off, 80% of people prefer videos over text. We've kind of already talked about this. Google's changing how they're doing even that PPC of they want to show more of the visuals because they know people respond to it. A lot of that is probably from TikTok, Instagram, Reels. All of those have been so popular that now we're looking at short-term video. So before, when we were first talking about video marketing, a lot of it was talking about like, even when you went to post on Facebook, it would be like, if this video isn't 3.5 minutes at least, we don't think you're not going to get a lot of views. And not to say that long video still doesn't have its place. Obviously, people are going to go to YouTube to look for those hour-long videos or those longer tutorials and things like that. But short-term video is really showing that it is jumping ahead. People want to see just short videos. They want to get as much information as possible. And a part of it is our attention span is going down, but that's okay, because that means, especially if we're new to video marketing, that means we don't have to worry about scripting so long, trying to get our employees in front of a camera for 5 minutes. Now we can just do a 30 to 60 second video. I'd say you're probably looking short term, we're thinking 60 seconds to 2.5 minutes. But a lot of people, even that 30-second video, and even 15-second for reels and things. But when we're looking at marketing, specifically using a video for a campaign, you do want it to be a little longer because we do have some information to get in. But these videos, things that you can start using in your shop right now, obviously behind the scenes, showing off different jobs. If you are, using marketing for employee and staffing, giving a look at what your technicians, the current technicians you have, are already doing. Showing it, giving an idea of potential customers of what happens to their car when they drop it off, like what is really going on. And also, testimonials from your employees, letting your employees shine a little bit. If you have an office pet, dogs and cats, people love that. That is a big one. Just a fun thing to share. And that can be used on social media and beyond. We're looking at email newsletters, using actual in our Google ad campaigns. You can set up video and things to even play on like YouTube and stuff. Obviously, that's going to be more horizontal than vertical video, but just something to be aware of. And then also a really great place for short-term video when it comes to what we can do for 2023, testimonials. If you have, it's obviously you're gonna have to work with like your service advisor, your office managers, but if you have a customer that just had a really great experience with you, you can ask to film that video. And you can also automate this too of, when you're sending that text for review saying, hey, we also would love a video review. Can you take a short video and send it to us? People prefer these videos. So when they hop onto your website, they can just see customers talking as well as those written ones. It just gives them a little bit more. And then Roxanne just posted a link to everyone that allows you to edit short video clips or take audio and lay it over images. I love that. It's so simple. And there's even things like Canva. Like, you don't need to be a professional video editor to use video in your marketing. There are a lot of things that you can use, and it really just kind of rounds out your marketing and makes it more appealable to the masses. So now we're going to get into 2 automotive specific trends, starting with electric vehicles. So why this is such a big thing is that they've already predicted that at least 1/3 of vehicles produced will be electric vehicles by 2029. So less than 6 years, it's coming up fast. Making sure, like, we understand that making sure you're able to serve these vehicles is a big investment, but the market is growing so quickly, and you don't want to miss your chance on being that local EV expert. Like, you can really use that as a marketing technique now. We actually have Scott, if you wanted to talk on this. I know you have some specialty with EV. I think it would be great to hear from you right now.
Great, thank you. Again, lots of really good stuff here. Yeah, on the electric vehicle front, we're here in Southern California, so it's we have a little bit different impact here than across the nation. And that's what's going to impact some shops. They need to look at their geographic region and what the market looks like. But for us, we've gotten in front of the EV stuff. We've been doing this stuff for a long time. Not quite as long as Carolyn has been doing it. She's really knocking it out of the park. But we've attended training. That's the first thing. You got to get your technicians up to speed, and definitely make an investment. Plus another angle there is that you should have maybe some of those vehicles in your fleet. We have loaner cars. We had 3 Priuses. We lost one last year due to a customer accident with one, but having those vehicles in the shop, and when you put a customer into a vehicle, electric vehicle, or a hybrid for the first time, it wakes them up, and then they now realize that, wow, this shop is actually kind of an advanced shop. One of the big marketing pieces that I've been pushing to go after is Tesla. And of course, the reality is that electric vehicles, they have fewer moving parts, fewer things to go wrong, but still you're going to have tires and alignments and those types of services. And we've been doing some marketing on that, and I've gotten a lot of really good ideas, but I'd like to share one. We found that most of these cars coming from the factory are not aligned properly, or customers just hitting potholes and what have you, and they're knocking them out of alignment. And we've been doing quite a few recently, and I immediately put together some video and some static images and that kind of stuff. And I wrote a blog post, put it on our website. And we had a new client come in last week. He drove probably 65 miles to our shop to get his wheel alignment done. And I asked him, I said, well, where'd you find it? He said, well, I just started Googling, wheel alignment, Tesla. He took it to a big box store, and they tried to do an alignment, and then they gave up on it. But when he got here, he saw what we were doing, and he was really impressed. And we were able to convey that in that blog post, and I was really proud of that. So we'll be doing more and more of that to show that we have expertise in doing that kind of work. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that a lot of these vehicles have a pretty significant technology stack. And frankly, a lot of consumers are not up to speed with what's going on with those, with their vehicle, and understanding what they can do to take advantage of the technology and how to use it and what have you. So we've, again, done a lot of education, kind of like what Frank said. We've been doing that for decades now, trying to educate our customers. But I have a new mission, and I want to basically stand up some consumer-facing classes and host them here in the shop, just to talk about vehicle technology and get out in front of that and get these people up to speed. Because really, the manufacturers that are selling, or the car dealers selling these vehicles, they are not onboarding customers, in my opinion, properly, and getting them up to speed, especially with the ADAS stuff. And that's the last thing I wanted to talk about, is that the ADAS stuff, it is having an impact on service. There's probably thousands of vehicles every day going through a repair cycle, like a wheel alignment, chassis repair, what have you, that is not getting the proper procedures carried out on the vehicle as per what the manufacturer is specifying. And we have to do a lot of education on that as well, to get these people these folks to understand that there's a responsibility here to make sure that their vehicle systems are working optimally, and can provide them with the active safety and driver support that has been designed into their vehicle. So I hope I gave enough there, and if you've got any questions, I'll be more than happy to help.
Yeah, that was a wealth of information. Yeah, that was amazing. And I think really touching on that education, because we know sometimes we have been working in our industry to have a better image, because sometimes we do get those customers that are thinking, oh, they don't think I know anything, they're pulling the wool over my eyes, that kind of thing. But being so open and holding these classes and sharing how much they're not learning about with their EV, I think that goes way beyond just marketing, but just improving your trust. And then also some social responsibility. We are seeing part of that EV is from people wanting to be better for the environment and things. So you can tie some of that in too. Troy did have a question of Scott, if you would like to share who you're utilizing for EV training. If you just wanted, we are getting a little bit close on time. So if you just wanted to share that in the chat with everyone, I think that would be a great place.
Sure, I'll go ahead and post that there. And then one last thing on the electric vehicle stuff, look at charging. We put a charger in our facility many years ago, level 2, pretty highly 9 kilowatt. And again, we charge customers' cars when they come in for service. And that's something that they aren't typically expecting, or they may expect, and we're able to deliver.
That is super smart. And I just want to say, Scott, that shows how good you are at marketing, that you have taken this and thought of all the different touch points we can make sure. And again, not even just for the marketing sake, but to make sure your customers know what's going on and are taking care of them. So I applaud you for that. It's really great. But we will move on then. Again, EV is very important. If you do have any questions, let us know. Like I said, Scott will add that in the chat of who he's utilizing for that training. And then we move on to our last trend that's automotive specific, which is advocate marketing. So you might be wondering, why is this automotive specific? Like, how are we using this? One thing, our industry has sometimes been, as a whole, obviously there are some shops that are doing well above, going really modern, kind of trailblazing with that. But when it comes to digital marketing, there are some things we've been behind on, and we've been slow to incorporate influencer marketing, which makes sense because that kind of does get that eye roll. It's a little cringe, like, why are we paying people to do this? This doesn't feel right. But there's a thing called micro influencers. And when you really look at it, these are the influencers that aren't those people that are paying to have millions of people follow them, but the ones that just have a small, highly respected group. And really, we realize that these are advocates. And that is something we have been utilizing in our industry, and we can utilize even more, especially as this kind of field grows. So we've just been calling them advocates. They are technically micro influencers. And it might, in 2023, it's going to be smart to have a portion of your marketing strategy focus on advocates this year. And one of the best ways to do that is actually a referral program. And there are a lot of companies that offer different referral programs already built. I technically recommend that you kind of look at your customer base, who is already your advocate, what is going on with that, and that kind of thing. And really, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to give them monetary, like, why do I always have to discount? We don't want you discounting a service. You need to know your value. Like, let's put that message out there. But if we could just give them kind of that gold star feeling of, hey, like, one, you already really loved our service, you shared about it, thank you so much. Like, people love that acknowledgement. So, and if we can tie something to that, for example, we have a client that they just do a raffle every month or so. They might do it quarterly, I don't remember for sure. But they do a raffle, and then anyone who gets a referral, the referral gets added in, they get added in as well. So you get more entries. And again, these people are already having this great experience. They are sharing about them no matter what, but that gives a little extra incentive, makes them feel like, oh, I got a pat on the back for sharing, and I want to do this more. And then there is some prize there. So definitely referral programs, start building them, start looking at the customers that are already your advocates and seeing what you can create around that. But then using that to say, I want to create more advocates. How do we do that? So it really, either by creating that one size fits all or tailoring it to the customers, either way, we know that recommendations matter, and we really want to take advantage of those. And just to share this fact, 65% of people visit the website after being recommended face-to-face. So if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I just got my car serviced by these people, I really loved it, they're 65% likely to go look at your website at least. So we definitely want to take advantage of that and make it easy too. That's something where we've talked about with automation and everything. This should always be making it easier on the customers and us. So if we can create something that, we text them a reminder about, hey, you can share this referral link, that kind of thing. Or if we just make it easier for them to submit those, we're going to see more of that. So time flew by fast. There's a lot of content here. But I did want to touch one more thing, just kind of do not forget the basics and all these trends. So these are the 6 things that I would always say any kind of marketing we want to remember. So 1, keeping up what's already working. If we are already using an email marketing or a digital ad campaign or already have a referral program working, great, keep utilizing it. Sometimes when we hear about new things, we want to jump on the bandwagon, if you will, right away without considering, hey, is this actually going to get, have I really thought about why I'm doing this or how it makes it better for my customers? Not to say that you cannot, try new things. You do want to do that, but don't give up what's working either. 2, documenting. We already talked about how much more likely your campaign is to succeed, with simple documentation. I would recommend you should have an annual marketing strategy, a quarterly strategy, and then you should be documenting each campaign you run. I actually have a class on our Gear for Shops that's planning out your marketing strategy that provides templates for all of these. But if you have any questions about that, it will at first, if it's your first time documenting, it's going to feel like a lot. But once you have this template and easily just get into the groove of it, it'll become so much easier and you will see a better return on that. And then 3rd, ideal customer. You should already, I've mentioned it a lot, so you can tell the importance of it. But you should already have a profile of who your preferred customer is. If you don't, that should be one of your first steps besides, looking at your website, making sure its building blocks are good. Following your top customers for this. Who is already the customer that you're like, yes, I want more of them to walk through my store. Those are the people you want to start with and see, okay, what are some of the demographics they share? Maybe some of the things. And you'll use that when targeting too. That's what makes this so important, because as all these new digital marketing things come up, it's really how we target and how much we know about the people we want walking into our shop that makes the biggest difference. And then intention. That is also a buzzword for today's. but we want to make sure that we are supplying value and fixing a pain point or problem. We never want to market just because someone said this, this really works. We need to consider why we're doing it, what we want from it, and how, again, it's impacting our customer. That's really what's important in marketing here, what we're solving for them. And then give any campaign time, and also making one change at a time, kind of combine these. I would say, especially for digital marketing, you want to give at least 3 months. Some people will even say 6 months, just because it does take some time for the algorithm to learn and to get out to your preferred people. And as a shop owner, I know it might be hard to be like, okay, but it's not like I'm just putting money into this, and it's not. You do need to give it some time. There will be some that you'll have immediate success with because maybe you just started or something, but definitely give it that 3 months. And then if something isn't working, you can adjust, but only one change at a time. This is kind of like in middle school when they made us create experiments, right? You could only have one variable changing, because if you change too many things and that campaign either goes really well or really poorly, you don't know which change caused that. So definitely still be okay with adapting, but single it into one change at a time so you can track that easier. And then finally, work with someone who knows more than you. We like to say it at the Institute, you can't know it all. It's impossible. We are working with so many different, juggling all different kinds of things, marketing, everything like that. So definitely, as this marketing, like you saw, it gets really technical really fast. I tried to give just the basics, but even some of it was a lot. And we need to be working with our like our website providers, everyone that we know knows more about this stuff and has the expertise that we need. And it's okay to say, yeah, I don't know about this. Good on you for taking this training and learning more about it and increasing your knowledge, but still realizing I'm going to need some help on some of these parts. So we did have it set up for another break time, but we are getting really close to our 2-hour mark. So I think we will just go into Q&A here. Let me go on to Q&A. Perfect. So first of all, thank you guys for listening to me talk for so much and learn about inbound, outbound, and the 2023 strategies. But now, what questions do you guys have for me, some of the shop owners, and other instructors on this webinar? And you can put those in the chat and the Q&A. And then Ken, I think you said you had a question or two that you had taken from a few people. Did you have those you wanted to share?
Well, I could start with one of them, which is how much of my time should I be devoting to this? Just from a shop owner's perspective, how much do I involve myself? And are there things that I can outsource? And what should I outsource? Sorry, that's a broad question, but that would be my thoughts as an owner.
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. I kind of tie it back to, this is obviously, if you have some marketing background, you should know a little bit. You should know enough to say, okay, this is what I want to do with our marketing, but it gets really messy fast. So I would say you want to outsource some of your marketing or have a marketing professional in-house. Some of our clients like to do that, because you really should be spending your time probably on those reviews. You should be probably doing a little review on your marketing once a week just to check things, but then like a big overview with whoever you're working with once a month, as well as probably a longer when you are setting like those annual strategies and those quarterly strategies. I'm not exactly sure on the percentage play out on that, but it is something you don't want it to be taking up so much of your time. You will have that involvement of, this is what I want for my marketing. These are the ideas I have. Here's, what I need to create and everything. But then after that brunt of creating it and kind of setting those targets, it's just checking in on it every once in a while. Did that answer it?
Yeah, I'm also going to answer my question on this. You should be involving your team in creating the content, making sure it's posted, in helping even plan and strategize. If you just use yourself, that limits the opportunity there. There's a lot of other people who have different strengths that you can leverage, and definitely involve them. It gives them ownership as well over your messaging and your culture, and that it makes that message much more powerful when it's shared in your advertising and your marketing.
I definitely agree. That's a really great point, to involve more of your team, especially as you are creating some of these campaigns around maybe your shop culture and things. Like, they will have an important say and be able to help in that. That's really good. And then we did have a couple questions. People have asked if this presentation will be available for download. Roxanne did say we will share the recording afterwards. So we will make sure to get that out in case you did miss anything or want to, take some more time to digest, because we did go through a lot. But then John had another great question. So SEO is essential, but expensive. Any idea how much annually SEO spend is for a typical single store business or a multi-store operator? Ooh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, do you have, I don't know if I have a number.
It ranges. So single locations, I've seen anywhere from 500 to 1500 on just their SEO. For the people who have multiple shops, you can see Tatsu spending roughly 700 a month. For the guys who have 2 to 3, I mean, we even have a few that are up at 16, 19 locations. Then it just gets broken down, and they're breaking down that cost per location, which would be around, it's a little lower when you're on that scale. So 500 to 1,000 per location on scale at, 10, 15, 20 locations. Hope that answered that question. Yeah, Brandon,
No, that's really good.
650 to 1,250.
Yeah, thank you for adding that into. And Brandon, you had a really good point too, that it will fluctuate depending if you have a really good, if you are doing a really targeted event, like there is, road trip season, break services, like maybe that's what you're focusing on, you might be spending more in those coming months. One thing that's really important to point out with digital marketing is you never want to stop. Even when you do have those lower months or whatever, you do want to have some going towards it, because you need to maintain your presence. The minute you stop marketing, you're going to have to restart and get all of that presence back with ranking with Google and everything. But, and also too with SEO, remember, obviously there's going to be that digital aspect of it, the PPC, things like that. But doing as much as you can to, on your website, just making sure you're optimizing for the correct keywords and everything like that. Obviously that could spend money too, because you might be working with a professional that just spends some hours. But being aware of those keywords too, and when you're doing social and stuff. So some of that guerrilla stuff where maybe you or someone on your team is doing a little bit of it, you can kind of set that foundation to make sure you're always watching that.
Yeah, and like Frank had a great point earlier when he was saying he adds keywords like, my Toyota sounds like a lawnmower. You got to think in the with the mind of who's searching for you versus what
exactly.
You don't search for the diagnostics portion, but what the consumer would think that we're looking for.
You have to understand, and I don't know if we had this metric on here, but percentages of the searches are voice to text. So a lot of them are going to Google, they're hitting the button and just saying what they feel they need. And so it's also important to look at how AI is going to start influencing the voice to text. What are people actually saying to Google? Hey, Google, my car sounds like a lawnmower. What do I do?
Yeah, so that's something that's called long form SEO, meaning we are thinking what our customers are asking and everything. It's not just auto shop, near me. That would be kind of a short term. That long term would be like, what do I do? What do I do when my car makes this noise? That kind of thing might be good for a blog post. We are right at our time, but we had one more question that was just submitted. So let's go read it over here. Other than oil changes and inspections, what are other offers clients looking to proactively address in their vehicles? The key is proactively wanting to maintenance. That is a really good question. And if anyone has anything that they're specifically doing in their shop, definitely share it to the chat. Oil change, inspections. I know Scott was talking about like alignment, things like that, brake service. Really anything you can think that should be routinely done on a vehicle, you can use that in your marketing. And that's a really good place to use that text marketing and even that email where we're automating it and saying, oh, this should be done every 6 months, every however long, and sending that reminder to them, especially once that'll help with return customers once they're in our net.
Yeah, Tatsu said pre-purchase inspection, transmission fluid, etc. Anything that's going to be a regular maintenance item could be built into a service package.
You would look at the services you already offer and what do you want to be, routinely? What is something you think should be routinely? Look at the makes and models you are focusing on. What are some things that maybe sometimes come up with those cars that your employees or your clients need to be aware of? Kind of bringing, like Scott and Frank have both talked about, that education level.
Scott, just talking about EV, because I know you're in that space. What are some of the more routine items you're going to see on EVs? I know what I know, but I'd love to know what you're.
Yeah, so
perspective is on this.
one of the frequent ones that we do cabin air filters a lot. You know, the manufacturer may say, you know, once every 2 years or something like that. But boy, if these people are in their cars, you know how grungy those can get. We actually bought a tool a couple of years ago during COVID, and it's an ozone generator. The thing is really awesome. So we sell a heck of a lot of that to not only the EV owners. But you know, EVs, they have a lot of torque and they wear tires out. So tire rotations, you got to get that into their head that the car is a low maintenance vehicle, but it still needs to have tire rotations. And then that's an opportunity for wheel alignments. And if you're going to get into Tesla stuff, just you can get the service information for free now. Start reading that stuff. There are some special procedures you need to follow with that, but you can do a really good job and make that car really handle nicely and do all it needs.
Perfect. Thank you. So see, there is a lot of different things that we can turn into routine and make sure that we are marketing to our clients depending on the makes and models we have. We had one more question, which will probably be our last one because we are past time. But Jackie asked, do you suggest any platforms to check where you are placing on a search? So if it is something like when you are in Google AdWords, if you've done like a campaign or are doing PPC for a certain keyword, that will show you just how well you're doing, where your placing is. Outside of that, there are platforms that are like SEMrush and things like that. Those are typically paid for. If you are working with a marketing professional, they're already going to be using those. You can just ask them and they will have that information. You can also, I would also just Google play around. There always are different little things, but they're like keyword tool planners. So you can actually see what keywords are doing the best and which ones have more competition. But again, you start to get into that, like how much as a shop owner should I be spending on this? Is this really the best use of my time? Maybe I do need to work with a marketing professional there. But Google does have, like I was saying, especially on the AdWords end, does show you that. And then things like SEMrush, but typically those are paid for to check that.
I can tell you, I like a tool called Uber Suggest, and it's either free to low cost from Neil Patel. I can share the link, but that's a great one. Yeah.
Neil Patel has some really great SEO things. Yeah. Once you're in the marketing world, you know some of these names. You're like, yes, they are an expert on that.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll share it in the chat. Perfect.
Okay, one more question. It just came in right at the end, but no more questions after this because we don't want to take too much of your time up. Fabian said, I have a gas station on the property. Do you find that people are willing to pay to charge their EV, or are people expecting that to be free? Scott, do you want to kind of, I know you had said you had a charging station. Do you want to kind of talk to that?
Yeah, that's a difficult situation. You know, if we're talking, you know, there's an infrastructure being built out now, and for fast charging, DC fast charging, it requires a pretty significant infrastructure for that. I don't think you know, the charging rates and the costs and everything are just a little fuzzy right now. I don't see that as a profit center. We investigated that here on our property, maybe putting in a charge point or what have you, trying to create a hub, right, a focus point. But I don't see that today anyway as a good marketing piece. But your market may vary.
No, I think that's a really good input on that. And I liked more where you were saying you had that available for your clients that are coming to you. So they are already doing a service or what. So that is just kind of an added benefit. But definitely something, market research where you're at, that's always going to change anything in marketing. So something to look forward to or to start doing. But yeah, we are past our time. So we will go ahead and end that now. I just wanted to say thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to attend this. I hope you got some good information out of it. If you have any if you have any questions on marketing, you can always reach me, lex@wearetheinstitute.com. But yeah, thank you so much. And I will let Roxanne, if you wanted to say a final farewell, that would be great. But thank you.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say great content, great job, Lex. We really appreciate you and Kent and everything you guys do for the industry. I am saving this chat here, so we'll try to put together some notes with links just to make sure everybody has the links that we were sharing there, because I know there was a lot of great tools that were being discussed. But yeah, thank you guys for attending, and thanks for your help hosting.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye.